The National Desk, America's News Now.
Americans begging for relief as prices climb even higher. The Fed taking bold action this week to fight inflation, but some say their plan only addresses half the battle.
It's hard to believe in a year and a half things have gone up as much as they have.
The supply chain challenges keeping prices high. From record temperatures in the heartland to wildfires in the West, we're tracking dangerous conditions across the country, including historic flooding in one of our nation's oldest parks, the damage left behind, and the dangers still to come. The nation's top cop accused of not doing his job after a threat to a Supreme Court justice's life, why Attorney General Merrick Garland is being accused of selective prosecution. And a new federal law requires hospitals to post their prices.
I was floored. I looked at that thing, I said, this is not right.
Spotlight on America investigates why in some places that law is being ignored. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Eugene Ramirez. On this weekend edition, we take a look at the big headlines of the week and a look ahead at what to expect. A quick look at 4 stories we're following for you. Recession fears on the rise nationwide as the stock market plunges and the Fed announces its largest rate hike in years. The Senate close to a deal on gun reform as parents question their children's safety at school. The security of Supreme Court justices being debated on Capitol Hill after Justice Kavanaugh's life was threatened, and a dangerous heat wave sweeping the nation, not over just yet. We begin with the efforts to stop red-hot inflation. This week, the Fed announcing an interest rate hike of 0.75% to fight inflation. It's the biggest hike since 1994. Stocks tumbling this week as uncertainty set in. The Dow ending the week very low. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell admitted this week there are factors out of the central bank's control that will play a role in determining whether inflation can be brought down.
And there I'm thinking, of course, of commodity prices, the war in Ukraine, supply chain, things like that, where we really can't, the monetary policy stance doesn't affect those things.
Supply chain challenges could also keep inflation high for quite some time. A shortage of workers, raw materials, and high transportation costs all making it difficult for stores to even get the everyday products people are looking for. Americans also feeling the financial strain at the gas pump. The national average for a gallon of regular gas holding steady at exactly $5. Lawmakers considering gas tax holidays to give Americans some relief, but experts say the move could have unintended consequences.
Well, if the federal gas tax is suspended, it would save about 18.4 cents a gallon. When you're talking about gas prices over $5 a gallon, though, that's just really a fraction of what motorists are paying. Now, more states have been looking at things like gas tax holidays, but that certainly could push demand higher by offering motorists more incentive to hit the road with lower prices.
Now, in addition to the pain at the pump, Americans also feeling financial strain at the grocery store. The cost of groceries surging nearly 12% from May 2021 to May of this year. That's the largest year-to-year jump since 1979. It includes close to a 12% jump for dairy products, more than 14% for meat, poultry, fish and eggs, for meat and poultry, fish and egg prices, a whopping 32.2%, much more than that. Many Americans dipping into their savings to keep up with rising costs, and it's a bad sign a potential recession could be looming. The National Desk Ryan Smith breaks down 5 financial moves you can make right now to protect your family's future.
With a recession on the horizon, financial experts agree you should not make moves with your money based on recessionary fears. Some want to get out of the market or reduce their investments until things turn around, but it's impossible to know when it's best to get out and when to jump back in. What you want to do first, pay down your credit card debts as soon as possible. Interest rates are rising rapidly right now, so consolidate cards or take out a low-interest personal loan or a balance transfer credit card. Now, if you cannot transfer high-interest debt to a card with 0% rate, call the credit card company, simple as that, and ask for an interest rate reduction. More times than not, it actually worked. Now, this is really important here. Stockpile your savings. If you have not built up a hefty emergency fund, it's time to really cut down on that discretionary spending, cancel that vacation, and cut back on dining out. Now, recessions, They don't last forever, on average 11 months to be exact. And according to a report in the Washington Post, the shortest recession on record lasted 3 months, just not that long ago, during the 2020 pandemic.
The pressure on Vice President Mike Pence was the focus of Thursday's January 6th committee hearing. The National Desk chief political correspondent Scott Thuman shows us some of the more dramatic moments and how red flags over security fears were ignored.
As threats to hang the vice president filled the air, this ABC News photo shows curtains being drawn, Pence and his family hiding from the mob.
Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution, and if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you.
If Pence caved, we're going to drag mother through the streets.
The demands pressuring him to refuse to certify President Biden's win, the subject of Thursday's hearing.
What the president wanted the vice president to do was not just wrong. It was illegal and unconstitutional.
Testifying, the lawyer who advised Pence of his constitutional duties to affirm the election and disregard Trump's requests.
Any comment on how today went?
Meanwhile, just across the street, more rioter convictions this week. A father and son who climbed through a broken window and paraded a Confederate flag inside the Capitol. But some think it's vital the committee also discuss how was Congress and law enforcement caught off guard when predictions of storming the Capitol were made weeks earlier and gained massive traction online. And some police agencies did express concern over mentions of a bloody war and demonstrators concealing guns for possible use at the Capitol.
Why was the Capitol so inadequately prepared? Those are important questions. And for that matter, was there a conspiracy to break into the Capitol? You know, what happened was a national disgrace.
The committee also highlighting the assertions of one federal judge who said it is, quote, more likely than not Trump committed crimes while trying to stop the certification. On Capitol Hill, Scott Thuman for the National Desk.
Two families in Alabama say Russian forces have captured 2 Americans fighting in Ukraine. Our team in Birmingham spoke to family members who say Alex Drucke and Andy Wynn volunteered to go to Ukraine and help train fighters, but had no intention of fighting themselves. Both men are veterans, something Alex's mother hopes will help bring her son home.
I'm so proud of Alex for being willing to risk his life to help other people he didn't even know. But ultimately, he was risking it for America's safety.
Alabama's elected leaders are now involved in the search. House representatives are working with the FBI and the State Department to help find the men and bring them home. Kids 5 and under could be eligible for COVID-19 vaccines as soon as this coming week. Moderna's 2-dose vaccine and Pfizer's 3-dose vaccine got the go-ahead this week from FDA advisors. They say there are differences between the 2 vaccines, and because they have never been tested against each other, there's no way to tell which one offers more protection. Kids 5 and younger are the only age group right now not eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. According to the CDC, right now there are more than 2.5 million COVID-19 cases in children under 4 here in the U.S. On Capitol Hill, the Senate's bipartisan gun reform bill may be hitting a roadblock over disagreements on mental health and abuse provisions. Senators struggled over federal funding of state red flag programs, a measure to keep guns from potentially dangerous people, and over a loophole in the plan to keep guns away from abusive spouses, but not from unmarried partners. Lawmakers hope to get the bill passed before the July 4th holiday recess. If Senate Democrats fail to keep 10 Republicans on board, it may not happen at all. The Supreme Court also taking a look at gun control. Justices are set to make a decision on the fate of one of the most restrictive gun laws in the country. Our fact-check team looks into how the court may rule and what it means for other states.
The court is set to hand down a major Second Amendment opinion this month. I'm back tonight with our fact-check team. So, Connor, you found out this actually stems from a New York law, correct?
That's right. And under this law, New Yorkers must apply for a state license to carry a handgun for self-defense in public. But here's the issue. To get a license, applicants have to prove they face special or unique danger to their life. Supporters of the law say it protects sensitive places like schools, Times Square, and highly populated areas where we see a lot of crime. But opponents say it unreasonably restricts their right to bear arms and protect themselves. Since we have a conservative majority on the Supreme Court, it's likely their decision will invalidate or narrow the New York law.
So looking at the broader impact here, Julian, how exactly could this impact gun laws across the country?
Well, as Connor pointed out, the issue at hand here is really whether or not the right to bear arms extends outside of the home. That's something the Supreme Court hasn't ruled on in a long time. And take a look at this map here. 6 states have laws in the books that, similar to New York, restrict the right to carry a firearm in public. Now, if the Supreme Court were to rule the New York law unconstitutional, there's a good chance you'd see similar laws in all these other states get nullified almost right away. Now, according to attorney Esther Sanchez Gomez, who spoke to the Washington Post about this, the court could even go as far as to say carrying a firearm in public is a fundamental right, which would be really limiting for states that want to implement measures like the one in New York.
Julian and Connor tonight watching for these decisions from SCOTUS. Thank you very much. The Fact Check team will continue to follow developments on this and several other important issues. You can also read this story with links to where they found all of their information tonight on our website. You see it right there, thenationaldesk.com.
After the tragedy in Uvalde, Texas, parents are asking how safe are their children's schools.
What's your reason for the visit to the school?
Coming up, our National Desk teams putting their local schools to the test. You're watching the National Desk, America's News Now. Don't forget you can catch us live weekdays 6 a.m. till 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Time, as well as anytime online at thenationaldesk.com. We'll be right back. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. From diesel prices impacting Texas farmers to a Florida veteran told to take down a U.S. flag. We're taking the pulse of America. We start in Ohio with people helping each other amid power outages combined with a heat wave.
Oh, gosh. I lost power. I live 5 minutes away from here.
The scorching heat and power outages putting stress on many families.
I had no power in my house.
But some now hoping to relieve just a little bit of the burden.
But I think it's the right thing to do to help our neighbors.
Anand Saha, owner of Mozart's in Clintonville, lost power himself. He brewed fresh coffee, offering it to anyone without power.
You need to have your cup of coffee. And if there's no electric, there's no coffee.
Most of the people here lost power. And I think it's great that a small business owner like Mozart's came out and offered a service.
And a few doors down, Melanie Ash, owner of Fitness Evolution, passing out water to help keep her neighbors hydrated in this dangerous heat.
There's always a lot of people walking by or coming off the bus, so we want to just be able to help them cool off.
Small acts of kindness to help neighbors struggling to get through this heat wave without power.
This community really steps up to help everyone, so people really look out for each other.
can't plow a field without equipment. The current average cost of a gallon of diesel in Abilene is $5.31.
Out of everything that farmers use, their input costs, they can maybe cut corners or they can cut back on some inputs, but the one thing they cannot cut back on is fuel costs.
From planting and harvesting to getting their crop to town, so much of farming relies on diesel.
It's not out of the realm that some farmers are spending upwards of $1,000 a day just on fuel costs.
This comes in addition to already rising costs of farming essentials like fertilizer, seed, and chemicals.
It costs about $500 more to fill that tractor up this year than it did a year ago. And I've had 3 tractors running the same size right now, so if they all burn a tank of fuel a day, that's $1,500 every day more that I'm spending than I did a year ago.
I defended this land, and for someone to tell me I don't have the right to display my own country's colors is beyond me.
63-year-old Joseph Carpenter proudly mounted his brand new American flag outside his front door of his Riviera Beach apartment. But hours later, he says he was forced to take it down by the property manager of this small apartment complex.
My property manager came knocking on my door, yelling, "Take that down, that's got to come down. We want all these places to look uniform."
Frustrated, this veteran believes that whether or not you own or rent a property, everyone has a right to fly the American flag. Carpenter points to the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act of 2005. The law allows tenants to display an American flag in a respectful manner, regardless of any provision in the rental agreement.
It signifies all of our freedom that we allow into this nation.
Management tells CBS 12 News that drilling holes to mount his flag was a destruction of property and needed to submit a formal request beforehand.
I took the mount off the wall, I repaired the holes, they touched it up with paint. You can't even tell where it was at. I feel like my patriotism's been taken out from underneath my feet.
Is your child's school safe? That's the question many parents are now asking after the devastating school shooting in Texas. Our team in Rhode Island asked every school district what they're doing to keep their kids safe. The National Desk Tamara Sakarzik has the Crisis in the Classroom report.
Buzzers, bullet-resistant glass, and controversial proposals.
Should teachers be armed?
Absolutely not.
Would you like to see school resource officers in every school?
Yes, I mean, they should be in schools.
The NBC 10i team is asking your school officials the tough questions and putting their safety measures to the test.
What's your reason for the visit to the school?
Our first stop, Lincoln High School, where with the blessing of administrators, I tried to get inside.
I'm a parent.
What's your student's name?
Grace Diaz.
And do you have an ID?
No.
That secretary did not let me in, but even if they did, I would have encountered another locked entrance where IDs are checked before entry.
Are you confident that Lincoln schools today would be prepared for an active threat?
Yes. This is the renovated end. And then
Lincoln Superintendent Dr. Lawrence Filippelli tells me the district spent millions on security upgrades for the high school, installing new cameras, hardening entryways, and adding glass with a shatterproof film.
That film, it takes a lot. The average is about 12 to 13 minutes for someone to actually get through that film if they're trying to break the glass, and time is what you need in a situation like that.
Here in Smithfield, similar upgrades have been made after the district received a nearly $500,000 federal grant, money that they used to beef up entrances, enhance security cameras, and install bullet-resistant glass.
Good morning. Name and reason for your visit, please.
Hi, Tamara Sakarzik from NBC 10 to talk to the superintendent.
Come on in.
Similar to Lincoln, the first buzzer allows secretaries to see who I am, but getting through the first door still doesn't guarantee entry.
Do you have your license?
If you find that they're not who they say they are,
if something seems off, they can hit this panic button to flag the police, who can monitor a threat in real time through this camera system.
So they have an iPad that connects to our system. If they're outside, they can get on that iPad, go to the second floor and see what's happening.
Not every school in Rhode Island has updated systems like this. RIDE recently authorized $500,000 for safety upgrades in each district, but I discovered cities and towns will still have to cover a percentage of the cost. Plus, physical safety upgrades aren't the only preventative measure schools are focusing on.
You also have to have a social emotional component to help with identifying kids that are threats.
Which is why many districts are also investing in mental health.
We did add additional school psychologists here in Smithfield, so that reduces our risk.
That was Tamara Sakarczyk reporting. Both of the districts in that report have armed school resource officers, but not in every building. For some schools, it's a funding issue that requires approval from the city or town. The man accused of plotting to assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh formally indicted. Still ahead, the 911 call he made turning himself in. With no indication on how long these record high prices will last, many Americans are questioning whether the Fed and the Biden administration will be able to get inflation under control. This week, our Megan O'Halloran asked Brandon Arnold with the National Taxpayers Union his thoughts on how this crisis is playing out politically.
Well, I think there's a lot of frustration out there amongst Americans, and you see that in Biden's poll numbers, which are quite poor, but you see that in broader concerns about the economy right now, and that's really unfortunate. People are scared. People haven't experienced this level of inflation for a long, long time, for decades now, and we're in uncharted territory where even as income increases and paychecks get larger, people are feeling poor because inflation is so out of control. So I think that people feel a little uneasy right now, and that's unfortunate.
Well, Brandon, how do folks get ahead of this? What are some things Americans can do right now to get their finances in order? Should they change the way they're saving and spending?
Well, I think they need to plan out their expenses for the long term. They need to budget very, very carefully because inflation is not going away anytime soon. Even with these actions by the Fed that can slow inflation, we're going to be dealing with inflation for the considerable future. So making sure that you're anticipating higher utility bills, higher gas costs, higher housing costs, higher grocery costs is really, really important, and not relying on savings to make extravagant purchases right now. I think now is the time to adopt some level of austerity.
By raising the interest rate, the Fed hoping to correct the disproportionate rate of spending. Are there any other avenues out there that the Biden administration can do right now to help lower inflation?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things. Right now, we're looking at an energy crisis of sorts, and increasing domestic energy will go a long way to alleviating prices, as will lower tariffs. Those are taxes on consumers and American businesses. And the biggest thing is really to do no harm. The old Hippocratic oath that doctors implement, right? That means no extravagant public policy proposals, no huge tax and spend proposals that are going to further worsen this problem by spending and borrowing far more money than we have to actually spend in this country right now.
Well, today, President Biden called on oil companies demanding that they take immediate action to increase supply and calling them out on their historically high profit margins. Is that enough action from President Biden? I mean, how much control do these companies really have at the pump?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing driving gas prices, of course, is oil prices. And no matter how loudly you yell at oil companies, no matter how much you tax them, which is actually on the table right now, it's not going to lower oil prices. What we need to do is have a domestic energy program. The Department of the Interior should be adopting a 5-year program right now as they're required. They're not doing it. Instead, they're just offering up tax credits to go out and buy Teslas and other electric vehicles. That's not going to help Americans right now. We need more oil, more natural gas. That's the solution to the problem.
Brandon Ardall, thank you for your insight tonight.
Thank you.
31 men accused of planning to attack people at an Idaho LGBTQ pride parade. Our local reporter there speaking to the mother of one of the men accused, coming up why she says she wasn't surprised by his arrest. Here's a look at the top trending stories on our website right now. Police in Alabama say a 71-year-old man is responsible for a deadly church shooting. 2 people were killed, 1 was hurt. The suspect is in custody. Deputies in Giles County, Tennessee, issuing a public safety warning about money found with hidden fentanyl and meth. Officials say folded bills have been found at 2 separate gas stations. And a family in Lovell, Maine is asking for help from the state to deal with a caterpillar moth infestation. Those stories and more available right now at thenationaldesk.com. Check them out. Looking ahead at a few big stories we're following for you as we head into a new week. We are once again on verdict watch as the Supreme Court nears the end of its term. The court will issue more opinions both Tuesday and Thursday. 18 cases still left to be decided, including cases on abortion, guns, and religion in schools. Also on Tuesday, it's Election Day for 4 states and the District of Columbia. One race to watch is the GOP runoff for Alabama's open Senate seat. Representative Mo Brooks running against Katie Britt. Britt is endorsed by former President Donald Trump. Americans dealing with the biggest jump in prices in more than 40 years. Coming up, our fact-check team taking a close look at how the White House plans to fight inflation. You're watching The National Desk, America's News Now. You can watch us live weekdays 6 a.m. till 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Time. Anytime online as well at thenationaldesk.com. We're back after this.
The National Desk, America's News Now.
You're watching the National Desk. Here are some of the top stories we're following. The Fed raising interest rates by 0.75% in an effort to slow record inflation. The January 6th committee gearing up for another public hearing Tuesday. The hearing will be focused on former President Trump's interactions with state elections officials. And senators say they've reached a bipartisan deal on gun reform. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell saying he will vote for the version currently on the table. New details now on the man accused of planning to murder a Supreme Court justice. This week, 26-year-old Nicholas Roski was charged with planning to assassinate Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Police say Roski called 911 on himself outside of Kavanaugh's home. That call was just released this week. Listen.
Do you have access to any weapons?
Yes, I brought a firearm with me, but it's unloaded and locked in a case.
You said you came from California. Do you know someone down here?
Brett Kavanaugh.
You said red, like the color?
Brett.
Rex.
The Supreme Court Justice.
A group of Republican senators accused Merrick Garland of not doing his job and putting the Supreme Court justices at risk. The National Desk's Kayla Gaskins explains from Washington.
Republican lawmakers say these pro-choice marches at the homes of conservative justices violate federal law.
All we want the Department of Justice to do is do its job.
This week, a dozen Senate Republicans, including Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland demanding answers, pointing to a federal law which criminalizes picketing in front of a judge's house with the intent to influence a case.
He said he was there to kill. Why? Dangerous political brinkmanship.
One conservative group blaming Democrats for threatening the lives of the justices. Other critics accuse the DOJ of also not prosecuting BLM rioters while targeting parents protesting school board meetings.
It looks like it's a little bit of selective prosecution on his part.
As we await the court's decision on whether to overturn Roe v. Wade, political extremist groups growing bolder by the day, some publicly declaring open season on pro-life centers. Firebombs, graffiti, broken windows. The organization Catholic Vote tallying 24 attacks on pro-life centers since the leak of the majority draft opinion suggesting Roe will be struck down. An extremist group, Jane's Revenge, taking responsibility for strikes in New York, Wisconsin, Florida, Washington State, and more. The group calls the attacks fun, threatening future measures may not be as easily cleaned up as fire and graffiti. The House passing legislation bolstering security for justices and their families. Garland supports the bill.
Justice Department takes extraordinarily seriously any violence, criminal threats of violence, intimidation, harassment of the justices or of any government officials.
The president shying away from condemning these protests as well, leaving the senators who signed the letter to Garland to ask if White House policy is influencing DOJ actions. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins for the National Desk, America's News Now.
In Buffalo, New York, the white gunman who shot and killed 10 black people at a grocery store is now charged with federal hate crimes. 18-year-old Peyton Gendron faces 26 hate crime and murder charges. He is the first teen in New York's history to be charged with domestic terrorism motivated by hate. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. He's pleading not guilty. In Utah, a woman says she was disappointed but not surprised when her son was taken into police custody after being part of a white nationalist group. Jared Boyce is one of 31 members of the Patriot Front organization charged with conspiracy to riot. Authorities say the men were planning to attack an LGBTQ pride event last weekend in northern Idaho.
A little thing popped up on my phone about these guys being arrested, and I just knew in my heart he was part of it.
Karen Amsden says she made her son choose between his family or the group, and he chose the group. Boyce's arraignment is scheduled for August. A memo from Homeland Security released last week says there's a growing threat of violence from domestic extremists. That risk heightened by much anticipated high-profile events, things such as the midterm elections and the Supreme Court opinion on Roe v. Wade. The Biden administration now inviting major oil executives to meet with the Energy Department to discuss how to bring down the sky-high fuel prices we're all paying. Those invitations going out to the same oil companies the president wrote a letter to earlier in the week, accusing them of benefiting from high profit margins as Americans struggle to pay for gas. Now, that meeting comes as the White House pulls out all the stops to sell Americans on President Biden's economic plan. Our fact-check team has a look at what the Biden administration is saying and if it will help slow inflation.
From gasoline to grocery store staples, we all know prices remain on the rise right now for just about everything. To break this all down tonight, the Fact Check team here once again. So, Julian, tell us what exactly is being done right now from within the walls of the White House to really alleviate all these economic problems?
Well, Ryan, that is the million-dollar question. And if you listen to President Biden this week, you would think the economy is doing far better than, say, if you went to a grocery store or filled up your car with gas. Let me read you a quote from the president on Tuesday. He said, quote, "I truly believe we've made extraordinary progress by laying a new foundation for our economy, which becomes clear once global inflation begins to recede." So first off, many economists say that the American Rescue Plan and other stimulus made the inflation situation far worse. And remember, the American Rescue Plan was pushed by the Biden administration, so that's very important to keep in mind. But even if you take that out of the picture, there's really no evidence to suggest that there's been this, quote, extraordinary progress in laying a new foundation for our economy. Even with how ambiguous that statement is, most economists agree that the economic outlook right now in the United States is pretty bleak.
And we know this isn't the first time the Biden administration has really tried to save face on the economic front.
Not by a long shot. You can remember earlier this week, Connor was the one that fact-checked the president's claim that the U.S. has the fastest growing economy in the world. Now we know that that's not true. There are at least 50 nations that were ahead of the United States in 2021.
And Connor, the president saying recently that there are plans in place to help fix this rampant inflation. What exactly is being done right now?
That's right. He released an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal and pointed out 3 ways he plans to fight inflation. The first is he's not going to interfere with the Fed. In other words, he'll continue to let them hike interest rates. The second, he wants to make things more affordable for American families. Now, he says he's already done this by releasing oil from our reserves, but we know that only temporarily dropped gas prices, and they just hit $5 for the first time. The last part of his plan is something he says he's already accomplished, and that's lowering the deficit. But that's not because of his policies. The Congressional Budget Office says it's because we're not spending as much money on COVID-19 relief.
Connor and Julian tonight tracking it all for us. Thank you very much. The Fact Check team will continue to follow developments on this and several other important issues. You can also read this story, links to where they found all of their information tonight on our website, thenationaldesk.com.
A 1,000-year flood closes a national park, stranding thousands and hurting tourist towns. We're asking officials near Yellowstone Park when it could reopen and whether danger still lies ahead. Plus,
how are we going to fill up a gas tank?
A pizza shop gets creative to recruit and retain delivery drivers. That's all coming up on the National Desk, America's News Now. The National Desk team of reporters bringing you the headlines from coast to coast. We are taking the pulse of America, and we start in Alabama, where police are hosting a meeting for parents to calm concerns over school safety.
2 weeks ago, Spanish Fort police simulated active shooter scenarios at Rockwell Elementary School. Back at headquarters, they were able to monitor what was happening in the drills because this past school year, they gained access to security cameras on campuses.
We can pull up live the school and the entire school. Should we ever have an incident, it would give us the ability to provide our officers up-to-date information on where that person might be.
Chief John Barber says they want to address uneasy parents, inform them what's being done to secure campuses, and listen to concerns they may have.
We see all the social media posts with the parents that are very concerned about the incident happening in Uvalde, Texas.
This upcoming school year, the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office will be providing 14 deputies to the schools.
You know, again, these are not just security guards. These are highly trained police officers that are in the schools that we're preparing for hopefully the worst day that never comes in this community.
In Maryland, another gas tax holiday seems unlikely to happen, despite the popularity of the first one. Maryland residents enjoyed a 30-day gas tax holiday back in the spring. But Comptroller Peter Francho is now calling for a 90-day gas tax holiday, saying residents deserve a break.
3-month gas tax holiday for July, August, and September is $100 million for each month. That's $300 million. That's easily found.
That gas tax break unlikely to happen. Critics say the first one affected funding for roads and bridges. Starting July 1st, Maryland's gas tax will go from 36 cents a gallon up to 43 cents. In New York, local businesses getting creative as rising gas prices drive some delivery drivers away from the job. Frank Scavio, the owner of a local pizza shop, says he usually has around 25 to 30 drivers on a normal Friday night. Well, now he says he's lucky if he gets just 10. Scavio is testing out a pilot program to retain drivers and bring down wait times.
How are we going to fill up a gas tank? You know, it used to be 30, 40 bucks. Now it's $100. So I figured every time an employee reaches 40 hours, we're going to give them a $100 gas card.
Scavio says he can't run his pizza place without drivers. 60% of his business comes from deliveries. This weekend, millions of Americans are dealing with more extreme heat. Meteorologists are predicting high temperatures will fall temporarily, but then another heat wave will hit, lasting anywhere from 7 to 10 days. And in Montana, entire towns are cut off near Yellowstone Park as the area deals with what officials are calling a once-in-a-lifetime flooding event. The National Weather Service expects river levels in Montana and Wyoming to rise this weekend as warm air causes more snow melt, boosting river levels once again. But people in the surrounding area are just starting now to clean up. Our Scott Thuman asked Greg Coleman, the Director of Emergency Management in Park County, Montana, about the process that lies ahead.
We've been pretty busy this last week. But the team here is holding up well, and the river is back in its place. Many of the communities and areas that were closed due to washouts and flooding are back. We have access again. They might have to have a detour, but we're recovering. We're starting the process of recovery.
Yeah, I know sometimes it takes a lot longer than anyone has patience for, but tourism, another factor in all this. I know it's a lifeblood for your area. You've had setbacks from COVID, then inflation. Now you've got this devastating flooding that took place. What does this mean in Park County and just the Yellowstone area in general? How do you push forward?
Well, we push forward like we always do. We assess and we recover. I'm not sure what it means. This is uncharted territory for us. But we're going to figure it out and move forward.
The Yellowstone officials are saying the southern end of the park will reopen on Monday, but the northern end could be closed for an extended period of time. How significant is that for you all?
That's extremely significant. Closing the park during COVID was a first, and here we are again doing it again. The Paradise Valley is a one way in and one way out when the park is closed, and it just makes it difficult for all the businesses and the folks that live here. We love the park. That's a big part of where we live, and I can't wait till I can get back into it.
Yeah, you and I'm sure a lot of people. Thankfully, though, no casualties reported and the rebuilding process already underway. Where does the county go from here when it comes to rebuilding, and what do you want to tell people watching about Park County?
Well, where we go from here is we're just completing our pre-damage or damage assessment phase, and then we see what our needs are, and we've started ordering assistance. The national VOADs are coming to assist and help folks clean out their homes and get us back to normal.
Anything you'd like to tell people about Park County?
Yeah, this is an amazing place of beauty and wonder, but that's not what brought me here. I moved here 25 years ago because of the people and the community. That's our greatest asset, and that's what's going to see us through.
Yeah, great attitude. And Greg, I've been through your area and all around Yellowstone. It's a beautiful country up there, and hopefully people will be joining together to try and make sure that the recovery is as fast as possible. Thank you so much for joining us on the National Desk. Wish you nothing but luck up there.
Great. Thanks so much.
Of course, we'll be keeping up with the flooding in Yellowstone, both on air and online at thenationaldesk.com. Patients surprised by the bill after necessary or life-saving surgeries. Still ahead, the law that's meant to make it easier to shop around and why in some places it's simply not being enforced. But first, the Supreme Court expected to drop several rulings next week. Some may be controversial. Our Capitol Hill Bureau breaking down what to watch for next.
Welcome back to TND. Our Washington Bureau covers Capitol Hill and D.C. every day to report on the important issues facing the country and how they impact you. Two of our correspondents, Scott Thuman, Audra Elnishar, they're here with us to share their insights and analysis. Scott, more primaries this past Tuesday. What did they tell us about former President Trump's influence on the Republican Party?
Yeah, it seems like every primary now we're trying to analyze, is he truly the kingmaker that he claims to be and wants to be? And we saw a little bit more of that this past Tuesday with some notable wins in South Carolina, Nevada, Texas. But South Carolina was a pretty interesting one because you had a couple of incumbents, congresspersons who voted to impeach President Trump. And of course, he campaigned against them, endorsed their opponents. So how did they do? Well, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, she kept her position. She held on despite some campaigning against her by Trump. However, Tom Rice, not so lucky. He didn't fare very well at all. And so now you have to wonder, what does this do to President Trump's own desires to potentially make another run at the White House in 2024? Is this the sort of thing that encourages him, if he believes he has this kind of impact, this kind of power and influence, does he think it translates to winning himself votes as well?
Yeah, Trump, a key player, not just with the Republicans, but with Democrats in the January 6 hearings. But the top issue for Americans continues to be the economy, Audra. A lot of news on that front this week, this past week, and moving forward. What are you seeing? Pretty much the news is all bad.
Essentially, and obviously, Steve, the biggest news of the week was the Federal Reserve announcing that they're raising interest rates by 75 basis points to 0.75 of a percentage point. It's a move so bold. The Federal Reserve hasn't done it since 1994, 28 years. And it was once, about a month ago, this time last month, thought to just be way too aggressive. But Chair Powell said once they saw May's CPI come in at 8.6% and the continuation of Russia's war in Ukraine driving up prices, they knew this was the right move. They have to be aggressive. Now, I sound like a broken record here, but of course, the real test for the Fed is, can they engineer a soft landing, meaning bringing down inflation through things like higher interest rates by cooling demand, but not to a point where they contract the economy so much that we're in a recession. Now, a recession is typically widely accepted definition is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. We already saw that in the first quarter, so we're halfway there, and the second quarter isn't looking too promising. Now, this week in an interview with the Associated Press, President Biden said that a recession is not inevitable, and honestly, most economists I talked to would agree. Nothing is certain in economics. Certainly nothing is certain in politics, but you know, the more data that comes out showing just how stubborn these inflationary prices are, the odds of a recession do get worse. And of course, the loudest voice on that seems to be Larry Summers, the former Treasury Secretary under President Clinton, who repeatedly says again and again, there has never been a point in American history, at least recent history, where inflation has been above 4% and unemployment has been below 5%. We're hitting both of those benchmarks now, where a recession hasn't happened in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and tough sledding for the president in the polls, too, in terms of Americans' disapproval of his handling of inflation in the economy. One other political issue, Scott, is that the Supreme Court is nearing the end of its term with some highly consequential cases left to be decided. What are you keeping an eye on?
Yeah, a couple dozen left out there, but the ones that are getting the most attention is, will the Supreme Court, as expected, essentially overturn Roe v. Wade? We know that that's what the draft indicates. So is that going to be the case? That's what's prompted all the protests, threats, security issues. But beyond that is a measure on the Second Amendment on gun control, a case out of New York that requires you to have a special permission to carry a weapon outside of the home. That is being challenged. If so, there are a lot of people who worry that would put more guns on the streets, so it could have greater implications nationwide. We're keeping a very close eye on what the Supreme Court says regarding that as well.
A lot going on in Washington. I know you both, Atra and Scott, will be keeping an eye on things. Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman and National Correspondent Atra Elnishar. Thank you both. Eugene, back to you.
And a big thanks for our Capitol Hill team. Americans spending thousands of dollars without ever looking at a price tag.
There was no listing for it on that list anywhere. Didn't have nothing about what the procedures cost.
Hospitals are legally required to give upfront pricing to patients. Coming up, why in some places that law isn't being enforced. For millions of Americans, a medical procedure will be the biggest purchase of their life. Now, many don't know the price up front. Last year, a federal law went into effect requiring transparency in hospital pricing. But a spotlight on America national correspondent Lisa Fletcher discovered the vast majority of hospitals are not fully complying with the law.
When retired mechanic Michael Reichard learned he needed a procedure to relieve blockages in his leg, he tried to find out what it would cost.
There was no listing for it on that list anywhere. didn't have nothing about what the procedures cost.
The national average cost of his operation is $18,000 to $25,000. But Michael got a bill for $92,000 for the routine outpatient procedure.
I was floored. I looked at that thing. I said, this is not right. I was in there 15 minutes for them to, run the scope down my vein and put in 2 stents.
A study by the watchdog group PatientRightsAdvocate.org reveals that Michael's experience is hardly unique, despite a year-old federal law that now requires hospitals to be upfront with their pricing so patients can shop around.
Hospital executives are putting their profits over people.
Cynthia Fisher is PatientRightsAdvocate.org's founder. In 2021, her organization examined 1,000 hospitals across the U.S. for compliance with the law. They identified 13 states where none of the hospitals surveyed was in compliance, and many states had hugely unbalanced ratios, like Texas, with only 4 of 87 hospitals reviewed in full compliance. Nevada, 7 out of 62. And Florida, with just 7 out of 104 hospitals reviewed in complete compliance with the new law.
Do they have to put their prices online? Absolutely. It's the law. So why aren't they doing it? Because they're making too much money by keeping patients in the dark.
We sat down with Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra and asked him what he's doing about major hospital groups that aren't complying.
Are you concerned that these powerful hospital groups are just flouting the law and acting with impunity?
There are a lot of hospitals in America that have either tried to comply with the law or are doing a good job already. And so I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush.
We can paint 86% of them with the same brush.
Well, see, and we have to go out there and find that out, because for us to apply the federal law, we have to find that the evidence shows that they're not in compliance.
As of this past December, Becerra's office had sent 340 notices of noncompliance to hospitals across the country, but has yet to issue any fines, which can run in the millions.
Why keep the names of non-compliant hospitals from the public? Shouldn't American consumers have the right to see which hospitals are complying with the law?
We want the public to know who's doing it right and who's not. We also have to go through a process. In this country, we believe in the standard that you are innocent until proven guilty.
Becerra says he's committed to holding hospitals accountable and making sure they comply, rather than making fines simply the cost of doing business. Something Michael Reichard is counting on.
He needs to get on the ball. He needs to assess the penalties. They're not going to do it as long as they can get by with it, because they want to make their money.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Lisa Fletcher.
And that's it for this weekend edition of the National Desk, America's News Now. Don't forget you can watch us live from 6 a.m. till 11 a.m. weekdays and 10 p.m. till midnight as well, Eastern Time. Check your local listings. You can also watch us online and catch up with the latest headlines on thenationaldesk.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Eugene Ramirez. Have a great rest of your weekend.